Domo domo, what is up everybody? This is official Jujutsu Kaisen Translator Steady here. So I did watch episode 1 in full. Yes, it is real. Yes, it was awesome. But I wasn't the only one who watched it. Tens of thousands of people around the world gathered online to watch a special streaming event which gave us a full preview of episode 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, along with a little chat with the main trio, Enoki Junya, or Junya Enoki in English, Yuma Uchida, and Asami Seto, the roles of Itadori Yuji, Fushiguro Megumi, and Kugisaki Nobara respectively. So it was an extremely cool event and something really special and unprecedented. I would say the age that we live in these days might be kind of setting a little bit of a new standard and a little bit of a trend for new animes to come. But for those of you that weren't able to catch it, fret not, because I've got everything that you need to know about the event, as well as a little bit of the highlights of episode 1 of the anime and what to expect in today's 5 things you need to know about the Jujutsu Kaisen episode 1 streaming event. Take a seat, grab a drink, because here we go. So as I mentioned before, it was a special live streaming event. It was in the evening of Japan time, so for those of you that perhaps were in the US, kind of up in the wee hours of the morning, West Coast would have probably been around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. East Coast would have been probably about 5 or 6 in the morning. People in Europe probably had no problem watching it. Started off, it was kind of divided up into 3 parts. So the first part, they did have the main cast in a little kind of studio with a guy announcing, you know, kind of emceeing for them. But the three main voice actors kind of introduced themselves a little bit, kind of gave their expectations, and, you know, I'm going to do my best and all that. So kind of a little bit of an intro section, I would say. Kind of giving us an idea of when to expect the anime, what to expect from the anime a little bit. I think it might have been 15-20 minutes or so. But then the second part was the anime in full, episode 1 in full, streaming online all over the world. There was no some sort of regional restriction or anything like that as far as I know, but they did take it to a separate stream. At the time I wasn't really too sure why that was, but it did become apparent afterwards, is because they've basically uploaded the live streaming event online now. You can go find it. I have the link in the description for the first part and the third part, basically the parts where they're talking to the cast, the voiceover cast. But the episode itself is not uploaded online, and a very smart move. Of course, I think as fans we're absolutely spoiled to even have been able to given this chance. So again, and I'm not really too sure why they did this, but maybe to kind of encourage the hype, which we will get into later on. As far as the episode itself, it was in Japanese without subtitles, as far as I know. Maybe someone can correct me on this if there indeed were subtitles, but as I was just watching it straight in Japanese, and it is the duration of the episodes will be kind of that half-hour mark. Since they just showed the episode itself, it was roughly about 23-24 minutes, but so basically that kind of half-hour slot. So that's what we can expect in terms of the duration of the episodes. So the episode itself was titled Ryomen Sukuna, and for those of you that are familiar with the manga, you will recognize this as chapter 1. So episode 1 did cover chapter 1. Now, without spoiling too much, we will get into kind of the details of what was shown in the episode a little bit later on in the video, but the fact that episode 1 did follow chapter 1 perhaps will give us an idea as to what to expect for the anime. However, I do feel that the pacing will be kind of changed along the way a little bit. If they do go 1-to-1, you know, one chapter to one episode, and I don't think that we will get that. I have a feeling that there will be parts of the manga. I'm sure as manga readers, maybe a lot of you out there will kind of agree with me here. If they do you know, a really strict 1-to-1, it could be quite long, because from what we have been kind of teased as far as the voiceover cast, we've seen Mahito revealed now, Junpei revealed now, obviously Nanami and all these kind of the special grade curses, even Principal Yaga, Shoko. So I do think that maybe kind of season 1, or if they decide to do it in cours, 12 episodes at a time, the pace will definitely have to be increased a little bit. And I think as far as season 1, what we can expect is, for those of you that do read the manga, you'll know through the kind of the Junpei arc. I do not think that we will get into the Goodwill arc in the first part of the anime. Alright, so for point number 2, I'd like to get into a little bit more of the details without spoiling it, of course. You know, I was lucky enough to be able to watch episode 1 live, but I do not want to spoil the experience for other people. This is not going to be a beat by beat what happened in episode 1, because I would not want someone to spoil that for me as well. But that said, as I mentioned before, episode 1 did follow chapter 1 pretty religiously, so it seems that they are very much respecting the source material. But of course, as an anime, there are kind of some things that are, you know, creatively interpreted as far as kind of cinematography might be concerned. And they do mention it later on in the stream as well, as they were talking to the cast. The cast kind of did mention something to look forward to is that they will have maybe a little bit of extra scenes, both to perhaps build the world a little bit, but to kind of really give the anime a feel of its own, which I really do respect. So it looks like they're striking a nice balance between respecting the source material, but also giving it that anime flair. So what were a little bit of the additions or things that were different a little bit? I will say that one thing that definitely I did notice is the hospital scene, and they mentioned this with the cast as well. Although it, you know, although it is very much similar, and they didn't really change up anything with, you know, the interaction with the grandfather or anything like that, as they shouldn't, because it's very much the core of what the manga is all about, right? But they did give us a little bit of a glimpse, kind of a little extras, like a brief little look at Yuji's kind of home a little bit. It's very, very brief, and a little bit more interactions with like the nursing crew and things like that. And one other thing that I will mention as well is that the infamous eating of the first Sukuna finger is a little bit different as well. It's not like it the discourse is very, very different or anything like that, but it was interesting to see their interpretation on it, and the interpretation of Sukuna kind of being revived temporarily anyways. A couple more highlights that I want to, well, highlight is that I would say Fushiguro and his kind of running through the school, you know, they find out that the Sukuna finger was unwrapped, and Yuji and Fushiguro make it to the school. I think when you watch it, you'll see, or if you have watched it, you do know what I'm talking about, kind of Fushiguro making his way through the school and summoning divine dogs. It was extremely cool the way that they did the cinematography and all that, and of course we've seen glimpses of it in the trailer, so perhaps you'll know what I'm talking about. Also, I gotta say, along the same vein and around the same scene, there is, as Fushiguro's kind of going through the school, you know, Yuji kind of stays behind for a little bit, but as we know, he makes his triumphant entrance later on. They really did an excellent job at kind of hammering home this concept of a proper death. I think as manga readers, we do very much, you know, we're kind of enveloped in the hype a little bit. We're in a very different mindset as far as the manga is concerned in Jujutsu Kaisen, right? But it's nice to kind of revisit these concepts, and I think a big part of watching the anime will be a nice little refresher and a little bit of a I don't know, reality check, but kind of a checkpoint and kind of get us back to our roots a little bit and what makes Jujutsu Kaisen so great. And they did a beautiful job at kind of interpreting as well as showing off this idea, conveying this idea of what a proper death is and what Yuji's motivations are. And we've talked about Fushiguro and Yuji, as well as of course Gojo Sensei makes a little bit of an entrance. You know, we get a little glimpses of him, but I gotta say the voice acting is absolutely stellar. It just feels so natural and it feels so right. And of course, as someone who translates the manga, I do have kind of voices in my head as I'm translating the series, but it didn't feel awkward at all. In fact, it was such a rewarding experience watching it from that kind of standpoint. And a little kind of a bonus highlight, I will say that Sasaki-chan, the girl of the occult club, right, along with Iguchi, Sasaki-chan was actually a pleasant surprise for me. I don't know if this is kind of a weird angle to take, but I think I saw a lot of people kind of commenting the same thing, is that Sasaki-chan, the voice actor was great, and kind of the way that they interpreted her. Of course, we don't get too much of her beyond episode 1, but it was very cool the way that they interpreted her, and she was kind of a little bit of a darling, I would say. You know, in the theoretical sense of the word, a little bit of a darling of episode 1, I would say. So look forward to that. All right, let's move on to point number 3. And here we're going to be talking about the sound design as well as the music. So the sound design and kind of the OST has been teased for a while now. If you're part of the kind of the Twitter community, you'll know that the same people, actually this lady called Arisa Okehazama, who works on the God of High School soundtrack, is also working on the Jujutsu Kaisen soundtrack, along with a whole team of really stellar, talented people. And I gotta say that the sound design and just kind of the background music of episode 1, if episode 1 is anything to expect for the rest of the series, we are really going to be spoiled. The audio files out there, I think, this is going to be a big highlight of the series for you. It did a great job in kind of conveying that creepy atmosphere that, I will say, obviously anime and manga, there are things that anime can do that manga can't, and vice versa as well, things that manga will always be better at than anime. But I gotta say, it's able to kind of take that creepiness to the next level for sure. As you might imagine, the school, the way that they kind of, obviously in conjunction with the cinematography, was just, well, off the charts. I might even watch it with all the lights turned off and suggest you do the same once the series does come out. I think a lot of people have been eager to hear Eve's opening soundtrack. Eve is kind of a famous Japanese artist who has had a lot of connections with anime as well, but he will be the opening act for the anime, and we did get a little bit of a tease of the song. So they showed episode 1, and then they kind of went back to the studio with the voice actors, and then, you know, talking to them about, oh, wasn't that great? But shortly after, they gave us a little bit of a surprise look at trailer number 3, or PV, promotional video number 3, which is online. And inside the trailer, they did show off Eve's opening song called Kai Kai Kitan. So the character Kai in Kai Kai Kitan is the same character that they used for Kaisen, which is, on itself, basically means have something to do with or have something to involve with. So it's obvious, it's usually kind of used in conjunction with something else, as in Jujutsu Kaisen. The Kaisen means kind of fights having to do with the art of Jujutsu, right? That's why sometimes you'll see the interpretation of sorcery fight, which, of course, we don't use that around here. But but the Kitan in Kaikai, Kitan means basically like a legend or a fable, kind of a little folk tale or something like that. Eve perhaps using this kai in a creative way, so maybe like Jujutsu Kaisen fable song. It's open to a lot of different interpretation, and perhaps as the song officially gets released, we'll kind of get a better idea, especially when we get a full look at the lyrics as well. But a very cool up-tempo beat, very catchy. I gotta say that I was very pleasantly surprised, and the more I kind of hear the preview and the trailer number 3 and of the song, it's kind of getting stuck in my head. So I think it will be a very popular song, and people have a lot to look forward to. But a big highlight of PV or trailer number 3 was kind of a little glimpse at the little tussle that Gojo and Sukuna has at the school. From the little scene that we saw, the cinematography was really cool, and this is that was the moment in the trailer where they kind of started playing Kaikai Kitan as well, so it was very cool, and it definitely brought the hype. But the last thing that perhaps you need to know about the event was the fact that they had a little kind of a surprise look at cover number 13, volume 13 cover with Kusakabe sensei on the cover, which was very interesting because, you know, as a manga reader, you're like, oh my god, there it is. And although they didn't really dwell on it too long, it was the very first look that we got at volume number 13. And kind of in hindsight, it's interesting. I talked about at the beginning of the video how we are kind of in this new age of revealing this kind of news, the online age, and to see volume 3 first revealed on this stream was very interesting. And the cover itself, I gotta say, looks absolutely amazing. It looks like Akutami sensei is kind of had kind of an idea of what to do for volumes 1 through 10. But now what we've seen with volumes 11, 12, and 13 is with Nanami, Mei, and now Kusakabe sensei is kind of this kind of close-up, this kind of a portrait bust style of the covers. So it's very cool, and it'll be interesting to see if this trend kind of continues through to volume 20, which I wouldn't be mad at, because the volumes 11, 12, and 13 have looked absolutely awesome, I would say. And I personally do prefer that look over, I would say, although volumes 1 through 10 are iconic, I would say I have been liking the last few volumes covers even more. But yeah, hey, that was 5 things that you should probably know about the live streaming event and episode 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen anime. There's so much cool details coming out these days about the anime. We're only a couple weeks away. October 2nd, remember, is when they start showing the anime and is released worldwide. So definitely keep that on your calendar. And if episode 1 is anything to expect for the rest of the season, I think we are going to be very, very spoiled. Mappa has done a great job with the animation, kind of capturing the essence of what the manga is all about in both the atmosphere as well as kind of the storylines. And kind of the themes, right? And like I also mentioned before, they're very much respecting the source material, but taking it to the next level and doing things only the anime can do in terms of creating creepy atmosphere, whether it be with some of the lighting and cinematography, but also the sound design as well. But I gotta say thank you so much to all of those that do come by the channel regularly to watch my weekly Manga Lounge videos for Jujutsu Kaisen, as well as some of my bonus videos as well. It's a very exciting time to be a Jujutsu Kaisen fan right now, and I do hope that the community kind of grows in a positive way, right? I'm always kind of talking about the positive juju. Let's be the ones to kind of set this new standard of manga fans. There always will be those people kind of spoiling content and throwing shade and things like that. Let's show them that that's not welcome around here, okay? And let's enjoy this amazing experience that we have with Jujutsu Kaisen in a year full of turmoil, and let's keep on spreading that positive juju. So thank you very much for coming by and watching, and we will have more coverage on the channel of both the Jujutsu Kaisen manga as well as the anime, so keep it right here to spread that positive juju. I hope you have a good day, stay safe out there, and keep spreading that positive juju, alright? We'll see you in the next video. You know how we do. Mata yoroshiku. Salmon!